I personally believe that Mockingjay was a wonderful book, though it wasn't quite as good as The Hunger Games or Catching Fire, which were the first two books in the series. It was much more to the point than the other two books, and it lacked a lot of the detail that the first two books always had. This novel made me ponder things about my own life, including how I treat others, how I am perceived by others, my weaknesses, and the horrors of an absolute dictator. After reading the book, I reflected on how I treat everyone around me and why I do it. For example, after constantly reading about how Peeta and Katniss protect each other, I wondered why I am so protective over certain people. It is probably because I see them as defenseless in a certain field, and I can't control my desire to help. But then why do I shut other people out, or disobey them? That is probably due to the fact that it's my own act of defiance, because I don't like when others tell me what to do. But who does? These two actions go hand in hand in Mockingjay, because Katniss constantly disobeys orders to protect the defenseless. This is evident when she is in District 8 and disobeys Haymitch and Plutarch so she can shoot at the hovercrafts, hoping to save some of the hospital patients. Throughout the book, everything Katniss says or does causes a shift in the war effort. For example, if she is acting up and causing a scene, it really rallies people up. By observing how Katniss's actions directly influence the war, I began to question how my own actions affect others. Though my actions may not be as important as starting the fire of a war, they still have a huge impact on everyone around me. Though thinking before you speak is a common bit of advice, it is often overlooked and undervalued because people don't understand how powerful they are with their words. This is something that I need to be more aware of, and I should really think before I act or speak more often. When Katniss describes the test that she and Joanna must face to become a soldier, and how they incorporate their weaknesses, I wondered what my weaknesses are. Well, probably procrastination for starters. This goes along with my lack of attention. I get bored or frustrated with things very easily, which often leads to me giving up almost immediately. I also don't take enough risks, which could also lead to giving up. For example, if I have a puzzle in front of me and if I can't figure it out within the first 2 minutes, I will most likely put it down and move on to something else. The main thing that the Hunger Games series made me think about was, what if we were to have a complete dictator and an unfair government such as the one in this book? It is obvious that Suzanne Collins wants us to think about that and take action to prevent it. There are tons of references to the United States, mainly that District 12 is supposed to be West Virginia, because they both have in common the mining industry. So, what would the United States do in this chaos? How would we be able to stop it? Surely our democracy and all of that checks and balance stuff would put it to a halt, but let's just say that it didn't. I can't imagine living in a world where you have to send your children ages 12 through 18 to fight to their deaths for some rich people's amusement like they did throughout this set of novels, or the brutality of their wars. Everything that they do is completely inhumane, especially with the bombing of the children near the end of the story. They even bombed the helpers who were trying to help the children, targeting their emotions to do so. In their world, everything goes in war. The crimes they commit are horrific. I'd like to think that as Americans, we aren't that heartless. But is this really true? We're accustomed to blood and violence by watching crime shows or murder shows or movies or horror films all the time, to the point where it doesn't even faze us when someone gets shot or slits their throat or something. I would like to think that something like this could never happen to us, but who knows, anything is possible in the future. I think Suzanne's trying to say that we should just do our best to avoid having a future like this for the United States and take precautions against it. So in conclusion, Mockingjay was a terrific ending to a wonderful series that made me think about how I treat others, how others think about me, and just just the future of our country. What could really happen in the future? Thank you for listening.